Three friends, one amazing series of YA novels, an insatiable thirst to relive the glory that is K.A. Applegate's literary masterpiece. This is Animorphs, the Dork-Bajir Chronicles.
Welcome to the final, live from the gardens, a podcast about animals, and how to be a convincing animal. Okay, can't do that for the whole intro. This week we'll be talking about the giant squid and the sperm whale, or rather, in reverse order. Two of the animals we saw in Animorphs number 27, The Exposed, which is the book we talked about last week on this show, the Dork-Bajir Chronicles. My name is Mikhail, the host.
I'm Tessa, the expert.
And I'm Braden, but you can call me Daddy.
No, I knew you were going to say that, and I was hoping you were just going to go with, like, the big spermazoid.
Nah, you can call me
Because
Daddy.
we're talking about sperm whales. It would have been relevant.
Let's do some fan mail.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
So the first piece of fan mail, well, really, it's just the post that I make asking for help. So I want to give a shout out to actually Mitch from the Wing Talk show on Collective Legacy. Also, Kevin, Josh, you know who you are, Matthew. On Twitter, there's at the Kingle Mingle, which is an awesome fucking username.
That's a really good name.
A couple of classics. At Kieran Andrews, thank you. I think Movie Polls was in there somewhere.
Movie polls. We love you, movie polls. You're so good.
Villawesome, or Andrew Vila, patron of the show, longtime friend, best
First
friend,
patron guest.
actually. That's true, first patron guest. So thank you guys for your contributions, whether they were made up, real, or not. It was, I don't think I said it was the final episode for Life in the Gardens in the post, but
You just helped making our last Life from the Gardens just that much sweeter. Because we know how
Totally.
popular this show is.
super popular. That's why it's continuing forever. Yeah. Okay, Brayden,
Yes.
some spermy questions.
Ooh, please don't say it like that.
What? Some spermy questions. Is that better?
There you go.
Yes.
What do the sperm whale and the polar bear have in common?
The sperm whale and the polar bear.
I mean, something interesting, because obviously it's like, hey, they're alive. Yeah, well, yeah.
Hint! Both of their hairs are not actually white.
I mean, because one doesn't have hair.
No, it's covered in hair. It sheds it before it beaches itself.
They both love chocolate. Just big old chocolate. Not even like just chocolate, like your typical like, oh, I like a Hershey's bar. No, fuck Hershey's bars. They go to fucking Spain. They go on. It's like
Hell,
that movie La Chocolat with
Johnny Depp and that woman?
Johnny. You will never not think of me drunk hitting women again, Depp.
Yeah, kind of
Like,
ruined
full-on, like,
for me a bit.
Mixing in fucking Himalayan salt type chocolate, mixing in ancient wines type chocolate, mixing in the foreskin of Christ type chocolate.
Yeah, this is a long list, I'm sure.
They are exploratory in their chocolate tastes. And I heard once sperm whales and polar bears fucked.
Yeah, okay.
And that's how we got narwhals.
Nawa, swimming
In the ocean, causing a commotion, cause they are so awesome.
So polar bears are actually the largest land predator with teeth. Not that you have to distinguish that, because they're also the largest land predator in general.
Uh-huh.
Sperm whales are the largest water predators with teeth.
Oh,
Technically, the blue whale is the biggest quote-unquote predator, but it doesn't have teeth. It eats like
It
plankton
has
and
It has like
Baleen.
baleen.
krill. Yeah, it does eat proteins, but it doesn't have teeth.
Interesting.
If a
Interesting.
blue whale or another whale with like baleen rather than teeth, like ate something that wasn't microscopic, would it like break its baleen or would it like choke on it?
It would probably be like Axe trying to dislodge that snail shell from his hoof.
God.
I think it's the exact same process, actually.
Tessa, giant squid are not the most common predators of sperm whales? What is?
One-legged men with a grudge and a big ship.
And their name was Albert Einstein. And that's the last time we'll ever tell that joke. We will bury it with this show. The real answer... Oh, a Moby Dick reference. I get it. I'm fucking literary. Don't even worry about it.
I've never read the book, but I did see a really cool play version of it that was not as boring as I thought it would be.
Yeah. The real answer is it's actually pods of orcas will
sort of
segregate, like they'll separate a weaker or older sperm whale and just fucking take them right out. They'll even force them below the water till they suffocate.
They'll force them in the water? Oh no, the whale is forced into the water.
Brayden, here's a question from Kevin from Facebook. What is spermeceti, which I might be pronouncing wrong, spermeceti, which is spermeceti, otherwise known as sperm oil. What is that?
Spermaceti, otherwise known as sperm oil.
I thought this was a good question for you. For you specifically.
You motherfucker. I would disagree with you if I didn't play a D&D game today where I had to role play a guy jerking off a gnome.
Done. Easy. Good.
I mean, of course you had to.
Okay, spermaceti is when you when you get I don't know, it's cum spaghetti.
I thought you were gonna say it was like the mayor of a gay town in Italy. Hey, it's me, spermaceti. That was racist and homophobic. You're welcome, audience. Spermaceti is a wax substance found in the sperm whale's head. Specifically in the melon, which is the echolocation center.
Aw, they call the heads the melon.
Yeah, we learned that with dolphins. That's the other reason this show is dying. I'm going to make a lot of this show is dying jokes. Is because you guys don't remember anything I teach you, so I feel like it's completely useless.
The show is dying after this episode, but I die after every episode. And then a new Tessa is hatched.
Why would we bother remembering it, Mikhail? It's immortalized on the internet.
Also
it's
that.
It's interesting. Anyways, the thing that fueled the whaling industry actually for a long time was this stuff.
Is the oil. That makes sense. I remember hearing about that.
Ambergris is a separate thing entirely, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And even though it is extremely valuable, the thing that was guaranteed to be there and was worth a lot of money was this spermaceti.
Is it only in sperm whales?
That's pretty cool.
No. Well, I think so, specifically, but I mean, melons and all the cetaceans, like the dolphins and stuff, have something in them, but this is like just huge volume of it. I did find out also something interesting, and this ties into the like freezing prey animals with their clicks. Mm-hmm. Sperm whales can generate clicks at up to 230 decibels, which is about 3 times or more as loud that a human can hear without suffering permanent ear damage.
Oh my god.
3 times as loud as that. Meaning it's like, if you were to hear that, you might actually pass out.
Fuck.
So,
Crazy.
like, a howler versus sperm whale. I think the sperm whale's gonna win.
Yeah, right. Tessa, what characteristic of sperm whale skin is different from an average whale's, or really an average cetacean's skin?
Sperm whale skin, their pores are so small that makeup cannot stick to them, actually. It's a curse,
wouldn't that be nice? It's actually the opposite, both ideologically and literally. They have wrinkly skin, so they look ugly. Yeah, that's been described to be like the skin of a prune.
Oh, gross. That's how they described the Drode last week's book. Ugh.
Most whales and cetaceans have smooth skin, like dolphins. Brayden, how is the ambergris formed, or ambergris, I guess, formed in a sperm whale?
Well, I mean, God, obviously. God and, like, elves.
It's true. God makes the elves, and the elves make the whale.
Yeah, they jerk off that whale into its own mouth, and it gets some ambergris in there.
Actually,
Good
fun
answer.
fact, the French use ambergris to make Grey Poupon.
Grey Poupon, which is just a piece of grey poop.
You know, the fancy French condiment.
So anyone who doesn't know, ambergris is the thing that was extremely highly valued as a I think it's a stabilizer or some kind of like neutral thing that holds scent really well or something.
Oh,
but
right.
It's to do with perfume. It's extremely valuable, not only because it's so useful in its ability to do that for perfume, but because not every whale had it in the same amount either. So it was like, oh, you actually could get super lucky and have a ton of ambergris in one whale, or none. Sometimes. And sometimes it would like wash up on the beach and people would sell it for like $10,000. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyways, the way it's formed is, so a sperm whale largely eats squid, not surprisingly. Yes. And squids have beaks, right? So any beak that isn't vomited out by the sperm whale will eventually accumulate in the second chamber of the sperm whale's stomach. And if it makes it that far, sometimes it'll get even further to the hindgut, which is kind of like the second last, I guess, part of the digestive system, where there it will actually break down into ambergris. But that's really quite rare if you think about it, because they've found beach sperm whales that have as many as 18,000 undigested beaks in their stomachs.
That's too many beaks, man.
Lord in heaven.
You know how when you eat chips really fast and you can feel them poking you from the inside of your stomach? That must be what the sperm whale feels like with 18,000 beaks inside it.
But you got to think that the sperm whales with that many beaks inside of them must have been working at beak performance.
Oh, clack,
3
clack,
points
clack.
from downtown.
A great way to end the death, to mark the death of the show, is with Mikhail pulling out the great jokes.
So males will fight over females. It's actually not that interesting. They have teeth, which does make it pretty wild. So one interesting thing about sperm whales is that they don't seem I guess it's not necessarily true for everything everywhere, but like they say that sperm whales don't even necessarily need their teeth to eat because they largely eat squid that can fit inside their mouth.
Yeah.
But almost all male sperm whales at least have scars all over their faces. So that's either from the squid or it could be from fighting each other for females. Likely it's both, honestly. It's just like a lot of things. The males will mate with a bunch of females, but it's not like a gorilla situation where then it becomes the dad of the family. No, the sperm whale has nothing to do with raising the kids at all. The actual act of sex, I couldn't find a sperm whale video, but I did find other whales, and it looks like the male kind of turns upside down near the surface of the water and holds the female's body up against the surface of the water while their like weird tapeworm dick like tries to find the vagina.
Oh god, it's so weird and crawly.
Yeah, it's pretty gross looking. But I recommend it because it's a miracle of life and all that other shit. Let's move on to the giant squid. How about?
Please, let's. And I thought I'd never say that.
So for Tessa, and this is a question inspired by Kieran Andrews on Twitter, how big is a giant squid?
To
and
quote,
you can give me like proportionally, okay?
To quote from Animorphs book 27, you put them in the middle of a basketball court, they can stretch out their tentacles and dunk both hoops.
Oh, well, how big is a basketball court?
Don't ask me that. I don't know.
Okay.
Their eyes are the size of dinner plates, though.
They say that like it could be. It's really hard to tell because for a lot of reasons. For one thing, when they wash up on the beach is where we find them typically, the skin is all stretched out. It doesn't have its elasticity anymore. So it's like, is that even the real size that it is?
And then if you take a photo of it in the ocean, there's nothing to compare it to. There's no bananas in the ocean that you can use for scale.
Hey, an internet joke for you.
Internet joke for the death of the podcast.
But they have found mantles, which is like the big cone part on top of their heads, and tried to extrapolate size. So I think the average giant squid, you're looking at like 40, 42, 43 feet. But there was a BBC article, and we're talking tip to toe, like the end of the tentacle, right? To the top of the head. But there was a BBC article that said, you know, if you really think about it, these giant squid could vary anywhere. Like they did some math based on the mantles and stuff. Anywhere between 20 and 88 feet long.
That's a wide margin.
That's almost the length of like a football field. Like that's
oh my
really
god,
big.
Squid are so scary.
But to follow that up, Brayden, here's an even more interesting question. Is the giant squid the biggest squid, and why?
Is the giant squid the biggest squid? I'm gonna go ahead. I mean, this one seems so obvious, but at the same time, like, it seems so obvious. I think it is, no. The biggest squid is the planet Earth, because we're all... Yeah. We're
That's
all
sweet.
one giant squid.
And all of the humans walking on Mother Earth are like her tentacles.
Gross.
Yeah.
So the answer is no, you're correct. That's 1 point for you. The biggest squid in the world is actually called, and this is my favorite fucking thing, the colossal squid.
Oh my god, it's so big. They found the giant squid and we're like, oh my god, that's giant. And then they found the colossal squid and we're like, well, this fucker's even bigger. What are we gonna do?
Yeah. Fuck, we already used giant. And it is pretty likely that they did find the giant squid first, because the giant squid is found almost everywhere around the world, and it's basically one species. The colossal squid lives around the Antarctic ring, which obviously far less explored than, coastal towns and stuff, right? So the colossal squid is a bit bigger. It's, I think, average, they said it was like 46 to 48 feet. Again, it's a hard one to really say how big it is. The difference also being that, like, it's more head than tentacle, whereas the giant
it's got
squid
a great
is
big
kind of
fat
50-50. Yeah, it has this big, wide, flaring head. The coolest difference I found, well, two things. First of all, it doesn't have suckers on its tentacles. What it has instead is spikes, like fish hooks that point every different way.
Well, so, that's just horrifying.
That is fucking horrifying. The other thing is that giant squids, and so this is part of the answer to why, is that the giant squid, they've found evidence that it exists likely between 980 and 3,280 feet below the surface of the water. So not 15,000 feet like they said in Animorphs. Anyways, the colossal squid, at least 7,200 feet below the surface of the water. So that's like twice or more the times of the giant squid's depth. That's insane. Anyways.
Fun fact, the colossal squid is also sometimes called the Antarctic squid or the giant cranch squid.
Yeah, I do like that.
And they call it that because it likes to eat Cool Ranch Doritos. That's why its head's so big. It's full of all those Doritos.
So why do giant squids have such huge eyes, and with eyes of 30 to 40 centimeters, which is about 11 to 15 inches? So,
oh my god, it's like the size of a pizza.
Well, you're looking at, it's at least roughly a foot wide. That's like a dinner plate.
A really big dinner plate, yeah, or like literally a pizza is 12 inches. I'm gonna say to help absorb the light so that they can kind of see, because it's dark down there. Either that or because they're actually anime girls. I don't know.
That's a point for you, actually, because that is exactly it. You can just see way better changes in tones and stuff when you have giant eyes. That question was also inspired by a little factaroo from Andrew Vila on Twitter. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Brayden, how do giant squids control their buoyancy? You know what I mean by that? Like how do they control how they either float or sink?
They have 99 red balloons, 99 Luftballons.
So that's a good answer. The real answer is they actually have a solution in their body called ammonium chloride, which is weird. Not weird, but most animals that control their buoyancy can do it through air bladders, right? Even goldfish and stuff like that. This is actually a solution that if you have, I can't remember if it's less dense or more dense than water, but either way, the concentration in their body determines whether they go up or down or stay still. The more interesting thing is that it actually tastes like a dessert called salmiakki, which is a Nordic dessert, a Nordic licorice that's been described as tongue-numbing and quote-unquote almost stinging.
Fascinating.
Which,
wow.
Yeah.
Those Nords.
Those Nords. Right, Tessa, last real question of Live from the Gardens ever.
Oh my god.
How do giant squid hunt and feed?
That's a trick question. They actually don't hunt and feed anymore because they subscribed to Blue Apron. Blue Apron is a meal subscription service.
No. We can't blow our wad on that. What if they sponsor us one day?
Don't blow that wad.
Let's save our wad.
You gotta save our wad. Speaking of wads, that's what giant squids do. Is when they mate, they get together in like a big, incessant whirlpool of writhing tentacles, and then a bunch of eggs are formed and live on the top of the surface of the ocean until they hatch, and then all of these giant squids die as soon as they've copulated and laid eggs. And other giant squids know this, so the weird, nerdy virgin ones who don't want to have sex stay behind, and then they get to feast on all the dead, cool, sex-having ones. Just like high school.
Okay.
Just like my high school. Hell yeah.
Just like the high school I currently attend as an adult.
Creep.
So, giant squids will grip their prey with tentacles that have serrated suckers, which are just like chitinous circles of death. They'll pull it towards their mouth using their like leg tentacles as opposed to their long feeler tentacles. But this is the more interesting thing that I found out, that all mollusks, like clams and shit like that, all have the same... No, that's not right. Anyways, everything within this genus has something called a radula, which is actually a tongue with teeth on it. Yeah.
Oh, like a cat tongue.
Sort of, only I think it's more prehensile than a cat tongue even. And it'll rub all over the prey as it comes towards the beak to kind of shred it into pieces. And then the beak will do the final... And it's a big fucking beak. Like, it's
Can I also
the size of like...
It creeps me out so much, the fact that cephalopods have beaks. It's like, you're a squid. You should not have a parrot beak. That belongs on a different animal. You stole it. Give it back.
I'm gonna fucking cry.
A few other things about their hunting habits. They always hunt alone, and they've been shown to be cannibalistic as well sometimes.
And you were saying the size of their beak? How big is their beak?
Like, looking at videos and stuff, it's hard to tell the scale exactly. And there are videos of giant squid out there. I recommend people look it up. In the ocean, not just beached. But, like, roughly the size of, like, an adult torso times 2.
Oh my god!
Like, very big, and it's a parrot beak, so it's that big
hooked... that's bad. No, that's
I'd
very
rather
bad.
die. Somebody come over to my house and fucking shoot me. I don't want to live in this world. I don't want to live in a world where we know this.
There's a reason why they thought it was like a fucking kraken back in the day.
Yeah, no.
Like, that is just horrifying to think about. So as far as the reproduction goes, mating ritual, I could not find anything. I would imagine it's pretty fast and dirty compared to, a mammal. I did find out that they have a fully prehensile penis, so that's interesting. It doesn't seem like anyone's entirely sure what it looks like when they're fucking, although, like a squid, I guess, would be a good bet.
It's weird that they have penises and not just, like, cloacas. Like, they don't have any other external organs. Why would they have a penis? And it comes out of the same hole the mouth does. Ugh.
That's weird. Ugh. Anyways. Okay, final hypothetical question for Live from the Gardens. Anyways, we'll definitely still be doing hypotheticals.
Hypothetical question of the week.
I decided to just go with the fucking classic hypothetical.
Nice.
Which would you rather be stuck as, a sperm whale or a giant squid? Keeping in mind that a giant squid doesn't typically surface ever, whereas a sperm whale does and like goes all over the ocean and stuff like that, whereas the squid typically stays down. The caveats are you still have your human brain and you were a human and you were just stuck in that morph. You
were nothlited.
Exactly. And you were halfway through your lifespan when that happened.
I think I'm going to go with whale because I feel like I'll still be able to, I'll find out a way to use the internet because people already expect whales to be smart. So I just do some like cool tricks, maybe some weird little echolocation clicks or something, and then some well-meaning philanthropist is going to build me a computer and I'll have a whale of a time on the internet.
Here's the thing though. It's gonna be Elon Musk, and when you criticize him even lightly, he will call you a pedo whale.
Oh, that's true.
I'd much rather go with a squid because, like, I'll be just as clever. I can go to the surface and I'll still have like prehensile arms that I can fool around with and also fool around with.
Yeah, but your penis is inside where your mouth is. You can't masturbate. At least as a whale, you could like rub your prehensile cock on rocks or something.
Wait, I just thought of a good Elon Musk joke. Okay, because Elon Musk is like a stoner kind of, right? Because he smoked that one weed
did it
at
like
one time.
Once. Yeah.
He must be a real big fan of Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Bingo, bango.
I wonder if I'll
bongo.
meet Diana as a sperm whale, because, you know, she was the princess of whales.
No, she's
Ooh,
dead.
that's good.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
fuck.
as you already mentioned, Brayden, the afterlife lives at the bottom of the ocean.
What?
We talked about this in the Hammerhead Shark episode.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I was gonna say, can we just go back quick? Tessa, do you think men can come by rubbing their penis on rough, watery, algae-covered rocks?
No, Brayden, I don't think men can come like that. I think whales can come like that. And you know what? Your whale come for that image in your head now. Boom!
Oh,
Drop
wow.
the mic.
God, there's
Drop
so
the mic.
much of it.
Coming
No.
in.
I'm dabbing. I'm like physically dabbing right now, and that's why my audio is bad.
Oh, my God. Okay. That was pretty good, actually. That was definitely the height of this show, I think.
That's we peaked right at the end here.
Some would say we beaked.
Oh!
No, I'm just dragging the show down now. My answer is I would also be a whale, but it's more because it's just so alien to be a squid. Like, there's
I
just
know.
nothing to relate to.
It would be too unlike me. Whereas, like, Brayden, I knew Brayden would pick a squid because he's all about having as many hands as possible, and he is, like, all of his guts are in his head.
Love me some hands.
Well, the thing about being a squid, too, that is, like, it is alien, but maybe that means you can do, like, a bunch of shit that just seems fantastic. Like, flying is alien, but that does seem, like, pretty awesome. So, I don't know.
Did you know, I don't know if it's true with the giant squid, but most cephalopods have a donut-sized brain that just loops around the whole part of the head
What?
portion. And if they eat too much, like if they eat too big of a thing, they can suffer brain damage because it kind of chokes them in their head.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something about if they ate too many donuts, their brain gets bigger.
Also that, but it's really difficult to find donuts at the bottom of the ocean.
Very.
True.
Very.
True.
I mean, they're usually pulverized by then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, this, if you haven't figured it out by now, will be our last episode of Live from the Gardens.
Yes.
There's a lot of reasons why we're not doing it anymore. The main one, which people did point out to us and we were just too ignorant to tell, is that we're just running out of animals, honestly. We've had to do some animals 2 or 3 times now, and it's frankly just not great. The other thing I'm noticing about our show, too, is that we're running out of time to talk about some of the more, like, elaborate parts of the series, and we have to focus on the summary, and we still want to do the summary and stuff. So instead of Live from the Gardens, what we're going to do is, like, a sort of... we're not totally sure yet, but it's going to be kind of like a hypothetical questions about Animorphs and the book we just read.
We'll kind of get into the lore of Animorphs and like what they could do differently, what animals they could like acquire that would help them better or worse.
And I'm going to try to spatter in some animal trivia here and there where I can, but the show it won't even be called Live from the Gardens anymore, but our off-week show is going to be much more focused on Animorphs. It's going to be much more focused on the book we just read. It will hopefully still be informational, but for anyone who wants to hear more about our thoughts on that particular book and not just hear us rush through a summary and point out a few things we liked or didn't like, this show is going to be for you. However, that's not starting until we do book number 28, which won't be for another 3 weeks, because for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be doing our halfway mark analysis episodes where we talk about what we think about character progression, plot structure, where things are going to go from here, how things have gone since the beginning, especially like how Brayden's thoughts have changed, but also maybe Tessa and I, like for me especially, like how it's changed since I was a kid. That's going to be big because I did read it as a kid. We're also going to talk about things like format, like the medium of a serialized YA novel, that kind of thing, how well that works or doesn't work, that kind of stuff. And it'll be laid out a lot better in those episodes, but that's the kind of stuff you can expect for the next 2 weeks.
Now, unfortunately, we have to say farewell to Live from the Gardens, and it's nice. I kind of just realized right at the end of this episode here that Live from the Gardens is our little halfway of an episode, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we lined it up perfectly with the halfway mark analysis, almost like we planned it.
I think this is also, this last one, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this might be, on the final Live from the Gardens, we are covering the biggest animals we've ever talked about.
Yeah, except for the humpback whale is a little bit bigger than the sperm whale, isn't it?
Piss in my shorts!
We didn't, that was Megamorphs, so let's say that doesn't count.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't really count. So.
None of the Megamorphs count because they go through like a stereo rip or some bullshit, so.
To our more intrepid fans, yes, you are right. The real reason we're canceling Live from the Gardens is not for any of those reasons that Mikhail mentioned before, but actually because Mikhail has gotten on too many watch lists looking up animal sex videos, and the government has asked him to stop.
But they also asked me to join a think tank for zoological warfare.
Oh, dang. Oh,
Russia.
dang.
Calling it now. Orcas will storm the beaches of Moscow, which will have beaches because of global warming. Anyways, Tessa, where can people find more of our stuff?
You can find us at our podcast page on collectivelegacy.org or on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Facebook.
It's fucking sexy, y'all. And hey, if you don't want to worry too much about not seeing our podcast, if you don't want to have to go and scroll down to the bottom of the Apple podcast page and hit available episodes and then hit the plus button and then hit download every time, you know what you can do? You can just subscribe, my dudes. You can do the same on Spotify. You can do the same on many other podcatching apps. And you know what else you can do? You can just leave. You can leave this house. You can live your own life. Your mother and your father will never find you. You're free.
You can
You're free.
leave your support for our show at our Patreon page, patreon.com. Oh, Brayden, that was a segue. I'm doing a segue now.
This is a segue. It's also a
This is a
vehicle with
segue.
wheels.
Yeah, patreon.com/DORKBAJIR.
And you will gain access to exclusive access to our Discord server, as well as essays written by us about the Animorphs books and much more.
You're gonna get access to the most exclusive access.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I didn't see a problem with that.
We like to give a shout out to our patrons at the Dork-Bajir level or higher by giving them a stanky little Animorph style title.
I'm going to give a big shout out to Mariah Wamgans, the Squiddy.
Greg De La Posta, the arrival.
Andrew Vella, the final.
And Yanka, the Nordic licorice.
Steam Driven, le final.
Shanna, the spermeceti. For the Phantomorphs, my name is Mikhail, the host.
I'm Tessa, the expert.
And I'm Brayden. Not so new anymore, am I?
Nah,
this
you're
has-
halfway to old. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot we had to keep going.
And this has been Phantomorph. Live from the gardens.
Gardens.
The final episode.
I'm Fred Durst, here for the Animorphs. I'm Fred Durst. Break it down now. I'm Fred Durst from the Biscuit. Do you
Another
remember me?
one.
Cause I don't. I'm
And
Fred
another
Durst
one.
for the Animorphs for the final episode
Yeah.
of Live from the Gardens.
Get it.
Break it down now with that animal
Do it.
sex.
All right.
Limp Bizkit loves animals. Getting down and fucking
Oh my
each
god,
other.
Mikhail, for the animal sound effect for this
fucking
one, you should just do the horrifying like clap
fucking
of a
Animorphs.
I
parrot.
paid Fred
Fred
Durst like
Durst.
$100 to
Fred
do this
Durst.
rap. Let's listen to
Fred
it.
Durst. Fred Durst.
I'm sorry.
Fred Durst on. Live from the
Wow,
garden.
he is not prepared for this rap at all. He's just saying Fred Durst over and over again.
All right, it's cool. It's cool. You don't have to pay me. You just have to offer your allegiance to Russia. What up, Vladimir Putin? What up, Vladimir Putin? What up, Vladimir Putin? I am an official, diplomat from Russia. Wicca. I am Fred Durst. And this is my friend, Steven Seagal. Hey, I'm Steven Seagal, blues artist and martial artist. Why don't you take a vacation to Russia? I am an official diplomat of Vladimir Putin. That is not a joke, that's a real thing. I'm also a sex trafficking criminal who has killed dogs. I killed 100 chickens and a dog with a tank. Wow, Fred, Steven, it was great to have you. Please stop all the sex crimes.
Hello everyone, my name is Jared, and this is Two Nerds in a Basement. Once a week, me and another nerd watch one of the over 70 movies put out by Marvel or DC Comics over the last 50 years and talk about them for far too long.
Can we just take a moment to address the fact that Howard the Duck looks like Martin Sheen?
You just want a Jimmy Olsen torture scene, right?
Something. Don't just shoot him in the head. Like, string him up by his toenails and just go to town on him.
And he's just got this scratchy voice. It's so annoying.
What's our solution to nuclear warfare, 10-year-olds?
It's like, I want to be a witch. I want to explore the black magics, and you get the aesthetic of your dreams, right?
I went straight to the boob grabbing. Hang on. Let me get there.
Brought to you by
Collective Legacy.
a podcast network.